Good morning. This is Black Crow Walking, bringing you some thoughts and ideas that have come to me recently from studying A Course of Love by Mari Perrin. So this is just an exploration. Come explore with me around love. We're all God looking for God. How profound is that? We're all God looking for God. We're all love looking for love. And only love brings happiness. Love is all there is. Everything else is an illusion based on fear. And sometimes we're afraid of not having love, and yet we are love. We are love. Do you want to rest from the illusion? Do you want to rest? Do you ever get that tired feeling, that really tired feeling where you're actually tired of life? It's because you're at war with yourself, darling. You're at war with yourself and others. And when you're at war with others, you're always at war with yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, how can you love others? And if you're wanting love from others, love yourself. It's easy. That's the recipe. Our mind is misused. Your mind is for sending and receiving information only. It's not for you to determine with. That's the job of the heart, because the heart knows already. The heart just needs to tap into what it already knows. So give it the information through the mind and let the heart determine. Feel into it, and see what the heart has to say to you, sitting in stillness and silence for the wisdom to come. Our language, unfortunately, creates separation and specialness and superiority, the three S's that are scary. Oh, scary starts with S too. That's 4. So separation, specialness, and superiority are all based on fear and judgment. And it's time to deprogram from that. What if you could be free? What if you could remember you are free? That you are free. It's your natural state. You're free. You're created free. It's only the stories that we put on ourselves and hold close to us that make us roll around in the rat cage. And, separation is a really interesting subject because we've been trained through our language to be separate, to be individual, to be judgmental, to be critical, to be opinionated. And one of the things that we do on our spiritual journey is we separate our inner and our outer journeys. And it's actually ridiculous when you think about it, because we are one being, and that one being is everything. It's like saying to a tree, well, that's your bark and that's your inner self. And so those two things are separate, but you are still one tree. It's just not true. The tree couldn't exist without any of that. So stop separating your inner and outer worlds and be one, and at one with everything and everyone. You were created by divinity. You were created by your mother and father's sperm, which was created by divinity. And then you came into this world and you began to create your life. And you were subjected to all sorts of abuse and punishment because you didn't learn the way somebody else demanded that you do, because you didn't learn what someone else wanted you to learn. It's sad, but it's true. It's the way our civilization has treated us from the beginning of time. Just because you're older and you're a parent doesn't make you wiser than the child. We all have an innate wisdom that when we stop doing the personality and the ego and the mind stuff, and we feel into and know, we can learn from each other. And that is a beautiful journey. And we separate ourselves from our natural state of happiness, peace, and freedom because we forget how to play. We forget how to have adventures and fun. And in the serious of life, in the have tos and the wannabes, I have to have this to be a status symbol to say I'm worthy of being here on the planet as a human being. It's sad, isn't it? Oh, our stories feed our ego, and they feed it with fear and judgment and opinions. And if you could understand the energy that it takes to hold ourselves in all of that expectation, to hold ourselves in the old stories, to hold ourselves in the programmed world, it is exhausting. I think we need to rest from that. I do. I certainly need to rest from that. I'm going to have a rest day today. So I'm resting from the world of illusions created by fear. And I'm just going to be my natural self, happy, peace, and free. I'm going to have fun and play and adventure in my life. I've already done that this morning. Had a lovely barbecue with my friend over at the park. So, yeah, we desire to rest from the busyness of life, from the programs of life, from the unhappiness of life. Because when we live in separation, we live in fear and we live in judgment and we cry about it and we isolate ourselves and become more and more alone and individualized and isolated, as I said before. And all we wish for is endless sleep when that happens. Endless sleep. Sleep is good. I like sleep. I don't always get a restful night. Getting older, getting more aches and pains. But I no longer need to rest from life. I value every single moment as this moment, not the next moment or the past moment, but this moment. And if I don't miss this moment, which is delicious with you, if I don't miss this moment, I'm alive and I'm awake. So, where do you think you'll find God or love? Where do you think it will be? Is it in others? Are you always looking for love in others? When you truly love yourself, you won't need to look for love in others because it will already be there. You'll recognize it. You won't search for it. You won't ask, do you love me? Your mind is so busy, trying to get the love it needs. I found love in my heart, not my mind. I found love when I was still and silent and looking for me. So I felt into it and determined from a place of inner knowing that love is here. Love has always been here. And we're trained from birth, aren't we? Like we come into this world and we have to learn to walk, we have to learn to talk, we have to learn to sit up, we have to learn to be present in the world, we have to learn to get our needs met. And we become afraid when we fail, when we judge ourselves as failing, when we don't do as our teachers want us to do or our parents want us to do or our family wants us to do. When we don't do that, we feel shame, blame and guilt, and feel like we're not good enough for our families, we're not good enough for our teachers, we're not good enough because we're trained, and we're actually trained through fear of that. We're terrified of failing. So what would happen if you didn't feel terrified of sorry, that was my arm. If you didn't feel terrified of failing, so we do have common fears. Let's look at some of them. We have a fear of things not always being as they have been. We like things to be as they are. So we feel safe. We feel protected when we know things will be as they are. When they're different, when they're changing, we don't cope very well. So that's a fear of change, fear of things not being always as they have been. Terrified of loss of love, and that can include people dying that we no longer can get love from. We're terrified of that. We're terrified of being on our own for the rest of our lives. We're terrified of growing old without someone being there to care for us, to see us, to hear us, to know us. And we're terrified of not having enough or being enough. Not having enough, not being enough. The eternal being that's inside us, the formless one, the formless oneness, has always been and always will be and is changeless. So what is it that's changing our lives that we're so afraid of? Is it having to let go of the status symbols that we've built around ourselves to make ourselves seen as being someone who is okay, someone who is doing well in the world? And yet we are changeless. Can you see that? Can you feel that? That love has always been and love is always and love will always be. And it is changeless. Fear, however, takes many shapes and forms. It's a real shapeshifter. When you separate, beloved, from others, you separate from yourself. Isn't that interesting? When you hate others, you hate yourself. When you separate from others, you separate from yourself. When you create war with others, you are at war with yourself. It's a big mirror out there. What you see in others is what is inside you. So every day I say, when I get up in the morning, I say, I join my mind with the mind of love. One mind. I join my heart with the heart of love. One heart. I join my will with the will of love. One will. And this sets me up for the day. It's like making my bed. If I've made my bed, I feel like everything else is just going to fall into place today, and I'm going to be conscious of self-care and self-awareness. But we never really understand unity, not with our minds. But we can feel unity. And when we feel it, we no longer need to understand it. Unity or oneness doesn't need to be understood, it needs to be felt. Oneness, joining, unity. We are all love. How beautiful. So we're not our bodies either. Neither is anybody else their bodies. So take the body off. Take it off. No, you say, I want my body. Your body will still be here. It's a vehicle you can just step in and out of whenever you want to, really. So imagine that there is a guardian angel standing next to you. A beautiful angel. Assigned to you at birth. And this angel is just now unzipping your body right from the top of your head down to your feet. And it is just going to stay on the chair while you expand outwards into the room. Because this energy that is you, this force of light that is you, this power of light, is filling the whole room right now with its presence. And it was before, when you were in the body too. It was never contained. The vehicle, your body, is only here for you to have a physical experience, but it's never contained you. You've always been bigger than your body. You've always been bright light shining in the universe. So follow that light and see if you can find where it finishes and where it starts, because you won't. There are no boundaries and borders to who we are. We are deliciously beautiful, light energy. And that light is out beyond the stars and the moon and the sun. And they are all inside us. And as we go beyond that, expanding into universe upon universe, down through the black hole, out into other unknown universes, here we are, the expansion of all things, ready to know the truth of the formlessness. We are one energy. You would not be able to see where your energy finishes and the energy of the chair or the bed or the ground that you're sitting on starts or finishes, because it too has its own auric being, its own formless being. Each tree has a formless being inside it. Each drop of water has vast intelligence and formlessness. Blessed be. You are huge, absolutely huge. And bringing your awareness, you don't need to shrink your energy to do that, bringing your awareness back to this garment that is the vehicle, and finding it all zipping up again and being present in the world, in the room, in your body, knowing that you are far bigger than your body, and you are out there with all things, being present in the formless. Open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I like being formless. So we're not our bodies, and neither is anybody else. So when you find yourself wanting to judge someone else, just take your body off, or take theirs off, and join in unity with the love and the light that they are, beyond the personality, beyond the behaviour. Just be present with them. Observe what you know about this spirit. Observe that they are this formless being, without their personalities, without their egos, without their physical appearance, without their status symbols of cars and houses and richness or poorness. If it makes you happy to do this, you're on the right track. But if it's creasing the brow, if it's creasing it, you're efforting to do that. And so stop. Because no attempt to see love in everything will be honoured if you are efforting. Ask, how can I see this differently? Excuse me. Ask yourself why you need to separate and who taught you to do that. Why do you need to compare or define or label in order to create separateness or individualization? What you recall of spirit is love, and you will feel the qualities of love expressed: courage, gentleness, kindness, meekness, goodness. It's time to let go of those neural pathways that have formed patterns and programs in the language that we speak that either promotes itself as standing over, overbearing, or standing under inferior language, neither of which is healthy for the collective divinity. Excuse me. We are all one source energy experiencing form. Nothing or no one are greater than or less than. And if it is so in your thinking, then ask what it is that you're measuring. What it is that you're measuring it by. Why are you measuring it? And what it is that you're measuring it by. With who, and who taught you that? It's just another attempt to keep the ego, to keep us enslaved in separation. And that's what it is, enslavement. We're enslaved to the programs and patterns that other people who are completely dysfunctional, probably centuries and centuries ago, who knew no better, taught us to do. It's time to speak from love, and often love is silent. It's time to speak from love, and often love is silent. And having been to this point now, I'm silently going to love you and say goodbye. And thanks for listening. Bye.